Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. You're listening to Cinema 5000. My name is Mallory. This is my podcast. It's just me talking about films I've recently seen, and this episode will be closing out the movies I watched at the very end of December, all the way up to the final days of 2025. We have 6 movies to talk about on this episode, and the count on Letterboxd is 5,912 films. Whew! Yeah, just a couple movies. I've got, let's see. So, 88 films left to watch, and my goal was April 14th, 2026 to hit the 6,000 mark. I think I can do it. But let's start out with finishing out what I watched in 2025. About a week or so ago, I watched To Sleep with Anger from 1990, directed by Charles Burnett. The tagline is, "When Harry comes to town, he brings good times, bad times, and a lot of trouble." An enigmatic drifter from the South comes to visit an old acquaintance who lives now in South Central Los Angeles. Harry is played by Danny Glover. He's a very charismatic individual, and there's an obvious clash with his lifestyle and his behaviors that hits this family in strange ways. Different folks are affected in different ways. Paul Butler plays Gideon, and Mary Alice plays Susie. They are basically the heads of the family, and we experience the different generations and how they feel about Harry's behavior as he comes in. You know, he's not like how do I say it? He's welcome at first, but his presence, it affects people in different ways and leads certain people to act certain ways that just, man, it tears people apart. And it's a very slow burning kind of disruption. And the way that these people react is really, really interesting. And in some ways, the movie is kind of about, I want to say, like the myth of the way the family works and the way that different generations have been raised and maybe feel about how to deal with certain things. And I'm just like trying not to spoil this, but Harry, works his ways in, and different people are reassured, different things and told like, you should be doing this with your life by him. And then they act on those things, and it makes things very difficult for everybody in the family. Wow, I like this a lot. It's not like a thriller, but there's a definite deviousness and seedy behavior to where the way Harry, works his fingers in of, kind of puppet on a string behaviors with the certain family members that, edge on a thriller, but it's really just a family drama. And then the ending itself, I felt was very, very original, and I really appreciated that about it because it felt like something that Charles Burnett was really trying to tell me that was about the family collectively rather than, Harry himself. Because these people are all their own characters, and I really like how they were drawn. It's a really solid script here, and this makes me want to watch more Charles Burnett films. I've known about his movie Killer of Sheep for a really long time. And it was kind of something brought up in academic film spaces of when I was studying film or just when I read film history books, because it's a very, how do you say it? It's one of those movies from the 70s that was known as an independent film and a part of American film history, but was not widely available anywhere. The library at the university I went to had it on DVD, and so I always knew about it, but never really got the chance to watch it. And just last year, or in 2025 rather, Killer of Sheep was added to the Criterion Collection. Now you can get it anywhere. But it's also on streaming too, so I'll probably watch Killer of Sheep soon because I know that's a Charles Burnett film. So To Sleep with Anger, as a piece of early 90s family drama filmmaking, and it's a smaller film. It's not like a big, massive production. The way this movie works, I found it very entertaining and really, really thought-provoking. And I gave this 3.5 stars. I strongly recommend you check this one out, and I do want to mention that probably the most notable person in the cast besides Danny Glover is Cheryl Lee Ralph, because she's on the show Abbott Elementary, so you definitely recognize her, but she's good in this. Everybody's good in this. I can't wait to talk about more Charles Burnett films. Oh wait, we'll do that at the end of the episode. But yeah, To Sleep with Anger is from 1999, and as I said, 1990. And as I said, I gave it 3.5 stars. You can actually watch this streaming right now on the Criterion channel. It's also available on Tubi if you want to watch it with ads. And I think it's a general rental too. Let me just check and see. Yeah, you can get it for like $3.59, I guess, or $3.99 on Apple. That's how much digital rentals are going up from $2.99 to $3.59 now, I guess. Interesting. Our next film from 2002 is Highball, directed by Noah Baumbach. The tagline is 1 year, 3 parties, 12 fools. A newly married couple tries to enhance their social life by throwing fabulous parties and inviting all their friends to Brooklyn to their home. This movie, I found out after the fact, is something that Noah Baumbach disowns, because this is essentially just like a fun project he put together with a number of actors who are in his film Mr. Jealousy, like Peter Bogdanovich, Annabelle Sciorra, not Isabel, and Eric Stoltz, and then Ali Sheedy, Ray Dong Chong, Chris Eigeman, who you might recognize from a number of other Baumbach films and even Whit Stillman films. I really like him. And then Justine Bateman, as well as a number of other recognizable people. They're all in this film that feels very 90s, and yet it was released in 2002. But Baumbach, from what I read, it was something that he had done and filmed and written, and he wasn't really happy with the project. And then somebody put all this stuff together and made it into Highball as a movie, and he was just like, it's got my name on it, but it's not really, my project that I endorse. And I can't really blame him. It does feel kind of like a step back from Mr. Jealousy and his movie Kicking and Screaming. But I was still able to enjoy this movie, and I'm not going to recommend it, but the certain way that indie movies were made in New York in the mid to late 90s, there's just a certain style to them, a certain rhythm to them that I find enjoyable even when they're crappy. And this movie just has like different parties that are happening in this one apartment. So it doesn't have a lot of variety in story, and just like these people get together and they're like, oh, hi, I do this. Oh, hi, I do that. And like, oh, it's a birthday party, and then it's Halloween and people are dressed up. It's just like all these different days happening, or evenings rather, of different events. And it doesn't really have a lot of great jokes or anything like that, and the scripting is just kind of so-so, and it feels very low budget. But I laughed a number of times, and yet I still can't recommend it because I just don't think many people would enjoy this kind of movie. But I think if you're a Baumbach completist, you should probably watch this one. I don't think it's his worst movie. I'm not a fan of Greenberg. I know some people like that movie, but that one just really turned me off. I think it's Ben Stiller in that. I don't know if that's a movie I'd ever want to rewatch, because I saw it when it first came out, and I was like, I don't know how to feel about this. And then some years later, I watched it again, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like this movie. Which is weird, because Baumbach's movie Margot at the Wedding, I watched it when it came out, and I was like, I don't like this movie. And it's also about another sour character played by Nicole Kidman. And then I watched it again, and I quite enjoyed it. Baumbach's a bit hit and miss for me. You might have heard me talk about Jay Kelly and how I kind of didn't really like that one, but I still found some things okay about it. Yeah, I think he's talented. It's just, it's a little hit or miss, but not in a bad way. I don't think he's ever made a movie I would outright say is absolutely terrible, to the degree I would never watch another one of his films. But Highball from 2002, directed by Noah Baumbach, though he probably doesn't care if you watch it or not, because it's not so great. I gave it 2 stars. Yeah, I watched this on Amazon Prime. You can watch it on Hoopla. You can watch it at Fandango at Home with Ads. Plex has it too, and Fossum, you know what that means. Or it's a digital rental if you want to check it out. And the funny thing is, the poster for it, I remember this as like a VHS release, because it came out on VHS when I was working at a video store, and it probably got like a very meager DVD release. Like, I gotta assume like a bare bones if it was an actual DVD. Um, it's just such a funny cover. It looks like something trying to do a takeoff on the movie Swingers, which was like 96. And it's like Eric Stoltz in a shirt he would never wear. It does not look like his body. And then Annabelle Escura, who's like in the movie, but does not look like this at all. And she has this giant plate with 3 martinis and 2 short drinks on it. And it just doesn't make any sense. Highball. Yeah, don't watch this one unless you're like a 90s nostalgia person. Another film from the 90s though, it's Miracle on 34th Street, directed by Les Mayfield from 1994. The tagline is, "If you really believe, anything can happen." 6-year-old Susan Walker has doubts about childhood's most endearing miracle, Santa Claus. Her mother told her the secret about Santa a long time ago, but after meeting a special department store Santa who's convinced he's the real thing, Susan is given the most precious gift of all, something to believe in. Mara Wilson plays Susan. I think she's fine as Susan. I mean, it was an obvious casting. Les Mayfield is the director of this film, but if you told me Chris Columbus made this one or John Hughes, I'd believe you. I don't think Chris Columbus was actually involved in this one, but John Hughes did produce and co-write the script. It just has that feel, that Home Alone 2 Lost in New York feel all throughout the movie, and it's not a bad decision in my opinion, because you get the drag of that kind of appearance. And I remember the trailer for when it first came out. I was a little kid. This should have appealed to me and I should have gone to it, but I didn't. And I've actually never seen the original Miracle on 34th Street, but I know all about the ending and the story and how it goes. So I didn't really want that knowledge to impede on me watching this movie and having a bad time. The things about it that I didn't really care for, though, were the things that I think any child watching this would not like, is that I think the courtroom scenes are just too much of the movie. They take up a good, long, significant half hour of the film, and it is nearly 2 hours long. I just think that's too much. Like, the courtroom stuff should be like 15 minutes at most for the attention span of young people. I mean, I don't have children, but I'm thinking about how young minds would take in this movie. They might find this a bit dull. Much of the movie focuses on the relationship, too, of Susan's mother, Dory, with her boyfriend, Brian. And Brian is played by Dylan McDermott. Dory is played by Elizabeth Perkins. Dylan McDermott is basically playing, how shall I say it, the most perfect version of a man anyone could imagine in a Christmas movie without it being a Hallmark movie. He watches Susan on Thanksgiving Day while Dory is at work. She works for the giant department store. She she doesn't have a relationship with him where it's obvious that they're like really, really in love. She just kind of is like, thank you for taking care of her. And she's kind of dismissive about him, but you can tell he loves her so much. And Brian also, Dylan McDermott, rather, as Brian, he looks fantastic in every scene of the movie. The most well-dressed man, wonderful sweaters, beautiful suits. His hair looks great. He looks incredible in this movie. How did they get so lucky? And then, obviously, this is where I get into spoiler stuff. Dory turns down his engagement, and he still sticks around. He still brings Kris Kringle around and helps with getting Susan a baby. Well, actually, Kris Kringle becomes the babysitter the night that he proposes, and they go out, and he's like, let's go shopping, let's go out. And he takes her out to dinner, and they do go shopping and all that stuff. But he's just so perfect. And then he does the pro bono lawyer work for Santa because he's a lawyer. He's a New York lawyer. He's a perfect man. Perfect man. What a dreamboat. It's not too distracting, but it also was distracting because I'm just like, who did this? Who styled this man? Who made him look so fantastic? I would almost say just watch the movie if you really want to take in the eye candy. That is Brian, played by Dylan McDermott in this movie. Elizabeth Perkins is fine. I get why they cast her. She makes sense in this part. She's a little bit cold and she's a little bit all business, but at the same time, Kris Kringle, who's played by Richard Attenborough, he warms everybody up. He makes, this whole thing work as best as it can because he's he's kind of the perfect guy to play Santa Claus. Also in the film is J.T. Walsh, James Remar, oh gosh, who else? Allison Janney is briefly in the film, Mary McCormick. Yeah, it's an okay film. I wasn't a huge fan of it. Oh yeah, Robert Prosky is also in the film. He plays the judge, the most typical Robert Prosky kind of part. Yeah, it's okay. I don't quite love it. It's a little long, but you could do worse for a holiday film. And plus, if you're all about that 90s nostalgia, let's say you can't watch Home Alone or Home Alone 2 ever again, but you need some New York Christmas feel, you could go with this one. Miracle on 34th Street from 1994, directed by Les Mayfield. As I said, gave it 2.5 stars, but it's on like so many streaming services. So, Disney Plus, Hulu, Paramount, Peacock, Philo, and then Roku. You can check it out if you still want some holiday cheer. Up next we have It Was Just an Accident from 2025, directed by Jafar Panahi. There is no tagline for this film. Vahid, an Azerbaijan auto mechanic, was once imprisoned by Iranian authorities. During his sentence, he was interrogated, blindfolded, and one day a man named Iqbal enters his workshop. His prosthetic leg creaks, and Vahid thinks he recognizes one of his former torturers. I didn't say that line right. He was interrogated. It should say interrogated while blindfolded. So Letterboxd, I got a issue with your little description there. So yeah, Vahid, who's played by Vahid Mobasari. Yeah, okay. Vahid feels like this encounter that has happened with Iqbal is telling him, this is the guy who tortured me. This is the guy who ruined my life. This is the guy who put me where I am right now today. And I need to enact my revenge on this man. But he also has doubts. He's just not 100% sure if this is the guy. This is the torturer. So what's he going to do about it? Well, he starts to involve other parties to investigate this man who he has captured, and he's trying to figure out, he's trying to search for reason for why he should not let this man go, for why he should enact what he needs to do to, make sure nothing happens again like this to anybody else because of this man. This movie, what a dilemma, what a dramatic film. It's in some ways a thriller as well. It's shot very, very beautifully. I don't want to spoil what happens here. I just want to say that Vahid has to get other people involved. And I quite enjoyed the beginning of this film. It sets up something a little different than what you are maybe expecting, like based on that description I gave you. And then it lets things slowly burn as we start to get a better idea for what Vahid has gone through, what these other people he knows, like why we have to bring them into the picture, and then other things about Iqbal. And I was so taken with this movie. It's one of those movies you're watching and you're just like, oh my gosh, where is this going to go? Like you think you know where it's going to go. It's not going to go there. It's got other stuff it's got to do, more tricks up its sleeve. And I just think this is so finely crafted. I'm a little disappointed I couldn't see this like in a theater and have like other people reacting around me. I'm really hoping it gets nominated for a bunch of Oscars, like Best Picture and such, because that way I'd be able to see it in the theater, because my local Regal shows all the Best Picture nominees. Well, most of them. Like sometimes they can't get. It depends on the movie. I want to say like most of the time, if there's 10, they get 9 or 10. I can't remember which one like last year or the year before they couldn't get, because they even showed the Netflix movies. But anyway, I don't want to spoil this, but I just want to say I think you should watch It Was Just an Accident if you have not seen it. Vahid Mobasari is also in the film No Bears, directed by Jafar Panahi, which I know about and have not yet watched. That's on the Criterion Channel. That got a lot of praise, and Jafar Panahi has had a lengthy struggle in trying to get films made over the years. I highly recommend you just look up his story, him as a filmmaker. And earlier this year, I watched the film Taxi, and that was all filmed. The way he filmed it was just like on the fly, trying to not get arrested for making a movie because he's gotten in trouble with Iranian officials and law enforcement, and he's been, I think there's like an arrest warrant out for him right now. If he goes back to Iran, he'll be like imprisoned. It's just, that's last I knew, like as of a couple months ago. I want to say, I could be so wrong about that, but anyway, it was just an accident. What a movie, what a picture. I gave this one 4 stars. It's such a, there's parallels in it to the movie Taxi, like little bits in here and there. And then I watched this movie and I'm just like, yeah, I get his filmmaking style and the way his stories are told. And also want to mention the cinematography for this is really, really beautiful. It's a movie that doesn't even have to look amazing, but it does. It's finely crafted in both its production and its script, and easily one of my favorite films from the year 2025. And I won't say anything else. But if you want to rent this movie, you can get it as a digital rental, or you can buy it. It's like $10 for a rental and $15 to buy it. I bought it without knowing whether or not I had, any positive feelings about it, because I thought to myself, well, if it's good, maybe I'll want to watch it again. And it's very strong filmmaking, and I think it's something that, anyone can enjoy. Now, up next, we have Marty Supreme from 2025, directed by Josh Safdie. The tagline is Dream Big. In 1950s New York, Marty Mauser, a young man with a dream no one respects, goes to hell and back in pursuit of greatness. This stars Timothy Chalamet as Marty Mauser, a swindler in early 1950s New York. New York is kind of reeling after the end of World War II. Still in this picture, there's a lot of conversation about war and things you might expect in conversations about men and their jobs and, just how they're trying to get by. And Marty is going to do anything he can to make his dream of becoming a ping pong champion happen. He needs the money to get where he's going to go for his flight. And everybody in this movie is using everybody. There's a desperation at every turn that every character has, and I'm not kidding. Gwyneth Paltrow is also in the film as Kay Stone, an actress that Marty just so happens to meet in a hotel, and he's very taken by her, and she starts to see things in him and Marty's desperation, and she still engages with him in conversation, and they have a relationship of sorts. But back at New York is Rachel, the the married girl that he's known forever. Rachel is just this girl to him in some ways because Marty can't be held back. He wants to pursue this dream, and no lady's gonna get in the way. And the movie is dealing with very familiar storytelling that you might have seen in other films about one man and his goals, and how, people are left by the wayside because the guy is convinced that those people will hold him back. I was reminded of Whiplash quite a bit during this movie, and Whiplash is not a happy movie. That is about throwing everything away for one thing, and yeah, Marty Supreme also touches on that point. But at the same time, the Odyssey of Marty is something that is littered with tons of colorful characters. Kevin O'Leary shows up as Kay Stone's husband, Milton Rockwell, and he can sniff out the shit that Marty is serving immediately. It's unfortunately a good performance from Kevin O'Leary because Kevin O'Leary is a scumbag. Abel Ferrara shows up as a very odd man with a dog. And Fran Drescher plays Marty's mother. She's not in the film enough. I would have loved to see a little more from her, but she's playing a certain kind of mother that, the conflicts in the home are pretty obvious the first time we meet her or hear of her existence. And then there's Wally, who is played by Tyler, the Creator. He's Marty's buddy. The two of them are just doing what they can to get by and try to support each other. But it's all about Marty, every day, every night. And the way this movie operates is very familiar work from a Safdie. The Safdies together have done like Good Time, Daddy Longlegs, and Uncut Gems, and I think Uncut Gems is probably their masterpiece, but as a solo filmmaker, can Josh Safdie, take that style and apply it to his own picture? Absolutely, of course. It's like their hallmark. That's the way they make their films. But I'm curious if they can keep it up and keep doing that and be successful. I'm feeling like there's a lot of derivative nature to this film, as much as I very much enjoyed my time watching it. Because the way that this world is, it's just like hustle or get hustled, There's so many amazing characters in this film who even are just in like a couple scenes or maybe just one. But the way this world is built and the people we experience and the general look of New York and then London and Tokyo, there's a thoroughness to this that I think is really complete and very satisfying, even when I feel like there's parts of the movie that are just good but not great. Like there's something lacking here, and it might just be the derivative nature of it, or maybe it's Timothée Chalamet, because I don't think he's bad here, not even close. I think he's a good actor, he's a solid actor, but I kind of feel like he's he's maybe peaked with Call Me by Your Name. I think that is his best performance. I do really like him in Bones and All as well. But there's something about Elio, that character he plays in Call Me by Your Name, that just feels like that's the one. That's the one you are terrific at, the best at. That's your thing. And I don't think he's bad here at all. No. I was convinced he was indeed a table tennis player. Yeah, it's a fun film. Oh, I didn't even talk about the music. There's something very cheeky and brilliant about the way the music works in this film. There's not only the great score that's done by, oh gosh, what's his name? Let's look it up. Composer Daniel Lopatin. He also did the scoring for Uncut Gems and Good Time. What a talented musician, composer. I think that the music in Marty Supreme might be his best work. I just found it to be really, really, how do I say it? Of my sensibilities. Yeah, it might be something that's a little off-putting to audiences who are like, well, this is a movie that takes place in the 50s. What are we doing here? And then the music, the pop music, the 80s music. Wow. Really fun. Nice touches. That's where it kind of is a movie for my generation, I guess you could say, because we're into that music, or maybe Gen X. I know. A lot of the music was released before I was even born. It doesn't really matter. It's the kind of music I listen to anyway. So yeah, is Marty Supreme a good time? I gotta stop. I think it's a great time. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's not a fantastic time though, just because there's a certain air of familiarity to the film that I feel like is maybe done better in Uncut Gems. So. And I think Chalamet is good, but some other people in the film might be a little better just because they're fresher. I don't know. I gave it 3.5 stars regardless. This was not a 3-star movie at all. Oh no, I had a fun time seeing this in the theater, well worth the price of admission, and the kind of movie that's really good in a theater too. The intensity of sitting in a theater and just going through this and whoa, what's going on? Also, new hack for me personally, if I go see a movie first thing in the morning, I saw this at 9:30 in the morning, I don't feel like I need to get up go to the bathroom for an early movie. I also did not get up and go to the bathroom for Avatar either. My body. I'm starting to learn things. Might be a little TMI there, but yeah, it's a fun film. It's a bizarre film. It's definitely a film that is of a certain era. And I think the storytelling here, Josh Safdie, that is, the saftiness of it, it's reaching new heights, but maybe it's more, it's just more expansive. There's a bigger world here than something like Uncut Gems, and I appreciate that bigger picture we're given. Also want to say, yeah, the production design in this movie might be some of the best production design I've seen all year. It's an incredible transformation of New York City to show this older part of New York City. And I mentioned the cast too. Now, this year for the Academy Awards, I'm not saying Marty Supreme's going to win a bunch of Oscars. at all. There is a category that is best casting, and I know that Marty Supreme is on the shortlist for best casting. This movie was made to win that. Every single character we meet in this movie perfectly realized from the second they're in the frame. What an achievement. I don't know though. My prediction for this movie, this is my spidey senses, I guess. I think Timothée Chalamet is going to be nominated for it. I think it's going to be nominated for best editing. I think it's going to be nominated for best casting, and also best picture, but not best director. So, yeah. And I think only casting. If it was going to win an Oscar, it's going to win best casting. That's what I'm saying. I'd be pleasantly surprised if it got nominated for production design, and not cinematography. No, I don't even think it was on the cinematography shortlist. I don't remember. No, not this movie. And best score would be nice for it to get nominated for, but I just don't think that's going to happen. It would also be cool if Odessa Ozion, not Ozion, if she got nominated for Best Supporting Actress, because her part, there's something about her part and the complexity as it, not in the beginning of the film, but later, like things we learn about her and how she behaves with Marty, just really, really interesting. And I'm not going to spoil this movie, but as things progress, this was a movie that as it went along, it got better for me for sure. I'm not saying like I hated the first half hour of it, anything like that. No, I was just kind of like, okay, all right. And yeah, the best parts of it for me were closer to the ending. So Marty Supreme from 2025. Did I already say this? Directed by Josh Safdie, 3.5 stars. That's my rating. I'm sticking to it. I think I prefer Uncut Gems a million times more than this one. As an overall picture. And I'm going to watch Heaven Knows What soon. I have not seen that one. And I don't think a lot of people have seen Daddy Longlegs. Guys, you got to watch Daddy Longlegs. And I've never seen The Pleasure of Being Robbed. I need to watch that one. That's from 2008. I guess it might not be readily available. I'll search for it. I'll find it. And I'll give that a shot. But I have seen a couple of the Safdie shorts that they've done in the 2000s. Like 2000 and what year was, oh yeah, We're Going to the Zoo. That's from 2006. It's so interesting to see how far they've come as filmmakers from the times when they were just in college. I've mentioned this before. I had a run-in with the Safdies. I was at the Independent Film Festival of Boston. I was volunteering, so I was near a lot of filmmakers, and they were there in matching red suits. And I was like, who are these two guys? I knew they were filmmakers because they were like in the filmmaker area. And I was like, wow, these guys are everywhere. It's hard to miss two guys who look like brothers and are in matching red suits. But good for them. They went to Boston University. All right, so our final film now that I'm going to talk about, the last film I watched in 2025. It's The Glass Shield from 1994, directed by Charles Burnett. The tagline is, "In a world filled with violence, his only weapon is the truth." JJ is a rookie in the sheriff's department and the first black officer at that station. Racial tensions run high in the department as some of JJ's fellow officers resent his presence. His only real friend is the other new trooper, the first female officer to work there, who also suffers similar discrimination in the otherwise all-white male work environment. When JJ becomes increasingly aware of police corruption during the murder trial of Teddy Woods, whom he helped to arrest, he faces difficult decisions and puts himself into grave personal danger in the service of justice. I had never heard of this movie before. I saw that it was directed by Charles Burnett and it was expiring on the 31st on the Criterion Channel. So I was like, you know what? Let's do some more Charles Burnett. I'm glad I watched this one because it's not on Criterion Channel anymore, obviously, and it's only available now as like a digital rental. I don't think it's on any other streaming services today. This being January 1st, but Michael Boatman plays JJ, and I think he's perfectly cast as this young rookie cop. It's the mid-90s. He's very green to the kinds of police corruption that are happening around him in this department, and this movie takes place in Los Angeles. Now, Los Angeles, police corruption, police violence, unfortunately things that did indeed happen in Los Angeles in the 90s. Oh boy. So this is definitely a film that might feel dated to some, but for 1994 as a release, it was very relevant at the time. Lori Petty plays Deborah Fields, Deputy Deborah Fields, who works with JJ in the department to kind of, be like, hey, I've got your back. I understand what kinds of things you're going through and how tough it is in this department. Just the things that like the other folks are doing to him on the job, like saying like your reports aren't good enough. You have to do better. This is how we do things on the job. Like when he gets, brought along on the ride to pull people over and stuff. And it's a very concerning environment for JJ. But, JJ, he always wanted to be a cop. So he's going along with things and he maybe doesn't agree with those things, but he has to shut his mouth because it's the job he's always wanted, right? But then in the picture of Teddy Woods, who's played by Ice Cube, this might have been like one of his first film roles. Teddy's arrest is clearly one that is corrupt, and we see the thing go down, what happens with Teddy. And then the murder trial, it's a total sham. It's really, really sad. But when we understand how things unravel and how this came about and how Teddy is accused of this crime, it's messed up. It's so messed up. And this is not necessarily a thriller film. This is like a straight drama. I also want to mention it's PG-13, but there's a certain intensity the film has when it comes to the corruption happening and how JJ, as the deputy on the stand, JJ, the deputy working at his job, has to go through things. It's a good performance from Michael Boatman and how he deals with this conflict and how things unravel. I also want to mention that the attorney Bernie Casey plays, Attorney Lockett, he defends Teddy Woods, and his drive to seek the truth and fight the corruption as an attorney, it's a great performance. It's one of those exciting performances you see in a film and you're just like, wow, that guy is he's really doing a great job in his performance. And it's just not just about that person, like kind of, seeking out things. It's like he has a real presence in a film that has a number of notable characters. Other actors in this film, I want to mention Michael Ironside is in this film. Yeah, he would be a corrupt cop. Emmett Walsh is also in the film, Wanda DeJesus, and Elliot Gould, too. Elliot Gould is only briefly in this movie, but very critical. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this quite a bit. Corrupt cop films might not be my cup of tea, and I probably don't watch many of them. I've seen some, though. And I get the angle that Charles Burnett is going for here. It's like a different side of what, is going on in LA, much different than To Sleep with Anger, but you can see how these worlds would be, not too far away from each other in Los Angeles. And this is not like a hard-hitting, gritty, violent picture at all. Oh no. It's really all about the paperwork and the mess that's happening on the person-to-person level as opposed to tons of gun violence. And I like this movie, but there is a lot of pieces that are kind of moving along as far as how the corruption web is woven, and it can be a bit much in its scripting, and it doesn't quite work for me at certain points, and maybe feels a little too fast-paced when it's like we could take some time to slow down, and at the same time the movie feels a little too long for what it's trying to do as well. It's 109 minutes, and I think as good as Michael Boatman is this JJ, some of the things he's made to do, I was kind of like, did we need to do that? It's a little bit, a little by the book, a little expected. And then there's some craziness that happens at the end of the film, which I was kind of like, whoa, what are we doing here? In like a bad way and a good way. I was entertained, just the same. So as much as this was like a movie that I went into not knowing anything about it, it's a movie that even when it's with its flaws, it's like, I'm going to remember this movie. So The Glass Shield from 1994, directed by Charles Burnett. I had to give this one 3 stars. Yeah, it's a good film. It's got some issues with it, but I think it's a good enough story, even when the script goes off the rails a couple times, to really give us a good picture of what police corruption is through the eyes of this, 1994 story. It does feel like a rip from the headlines kind of thing, but yeah, it's not explicitly based on anything, I think, as far as real life events, though I do know this is adapted from another script or story written by John Eddie Johnson and Ned Welsh. I couldn't find anything about it other than just in general IMDb. Not in the trivia, but in the credits. In the credits, it says the name of that script was One of Us. I don't know if that was a short or something else. I couldn't find anything about it. But The Glass Shield, the last movie I watched in 2025. Yeah, it was a good year. I watched 182 films for the first time? Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of movies, but I will say this has been a down year for me for how many movies I watched total, which is shocking. Past years I got over 200 films, and this year I just didn't. I don't know what the deal is. I'm gonna try to shoot for over 200 this year though, and I'm gonna go to the movies today, so I'll make it happen. But what's to say about 2025 besides that? I don't know. I think we're going to turn the page and go into 2026. And the next couple episodes are going to be, next episode's going to be the rewatch recap episode. So everything I watched in October, November, and December, like for another time. Nothing I haven't seen before. It's all stuff I'm going to be talking about with, repeat watches, however it works out. And then the next episode after that is probably going to be the best movies I saw in 2025. So movies from any year that I saw for the first time. And I'll talk to you about that list and how I feel about the films and blah, blah, blah. And January, when it comes to theatrical exhibition for new releases, it's not going to be great, but maybe I'll catch up on some other films I haven't seen yet from 2025. I'm not sure what direction I'll go, but a number of films have just been added to streaming in the last couple weeks or so for end of the year releases that I am looking forward to checking out. Not gonna drop any hints. I also have tons of movies I own that I have never watched before, but I think Killer of Sheep should be on the next episode where I talk to you about the movies I'm starting to watch in 2026 for the first time in theaters and at home. But I'm Mallory. Happy New Year. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Cinema5000.com is the website. Cinema 5000 on Bluesky. You want to follow along. cinema5kpod@gmail.com is the email if you want to send me a message. YouTube, Cinema 5000 Podcast, and also on cinema5000.com. If you click into the blog, whenever I upload an episode on YouTube, I post it in there, in embed, so you can watch. Yay. That's it. I don't want to say what I'm going to watch because, there might be some surprises. I don't know. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. Take care. Happy New Year. I'm Mallory. Again, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.